As the prophet of esports, I rely on trustworthy and meaningful data every day. Data from our research partner, YouGov, offers the most complete view of esports fans and gamers in the world, providing context to who they are, what they think, the brands they buy, and things they do. YouGov's connected insights and research services inform strategy at every level. If you're a team, a brand, agency, or rights holder, you should be talking with YouGov. Their partners measure and maximize ROI and are telling compelling stories with data. Visit yougov.com/gaming-esports to learn more. Drakestar Partners, which is an investment bank run by a guy named Michael Metzger. He's a well-known analyst in the space. And they did sort of a report on game deals in the first half of 2021. And there's not a huge amount of discussion here. I just thought some of the data was really incredible. So the headline here was game deals surpassed $60 billion in the first half, just the first half of 2021, just 6 months. And if you look at M&A transactions in the first half, you have Microsoft ZeniMax, you have ByteDance, and Jesus, I'm going blind.
Where's Genji Analytics? They're missing a big acquisition here.
You have EA and Glue, you have Embracer Gearbox, right? Like you have all these massive acquisitions, HP and HyperX. I was surprised at I hadn't thought, sort of stopped to think, 169 mergers and acquisitions just in the first half of 2021, $23 billion in deal value. Okay. If you look at private investments, there were 364 minority financings from VCs and strategic investors to the tune of $4.8 billion. And if you look at public markets, 37 announced and closed IPOs with $11.2 billion in proceeds. Again, this is all just in the first 6 months of 2021. I don't know if you guys have thoughts on this, on the size, on the number of, I'm just blown away by both the sheer volume of deals and the size of the deals and the size of the dollars involved. Anyone think this is going to slow down second half 2021 or, first half of next year?
I'll go. Well, number one,
and to Ramsey's question, I'll link this one right now. I'm sorry, Ramsey, I should make a better habit of linking every article that we cover. Going forward, I think what I'll do is, Ramsey asked, have you linked all these articles anywhere, Paul? I think going forward, what we'll do is we'll include links to all the articles in the description of the YouTube VOD after the fact. So we'll add the links to the YouTube VOD description after the fact, Ramsey, if that's helpful. Sorry, Jeff, go ahead.
I was just going to sort of answer your question. I mean, clearly, number one, it's been a great time to be a gaming company. The pandemic, obviously, everyone sort of that listens to this knows this, brought out a lot of new demand. We obviously just literally talked about it with the last story. Having said that, I do think you probably will see a slowdown with the pandemic igniting so much interest in gaming. All the public gaming companies' stocks did really well, which tends to lead to acquisitions, more M&A, more IPOs because valuations are really hot. We are likely to see that abate a little bit in terms of there probably will be, and you're already starting to see it a little bit the last couple months, like the stocks of all the video game companies have taken a little bit of a cooling off period. So I do think you're likely to see this really hot activity slow down to some extent. But long-term, medium-term, obviously, it's a great time to be investing in gaming.
I'd also just point out there's a limited number of big acquisition targets left. There's only so many Bethesdas out there, right? Mm-hmm. And I do think we're going to see a lot of these guys snapped up because it makes sense, partly for why Jeff outlined and partly just because I think they'd stayed independent for too long. There were other business reasons, but there's a finite number of those good deals to do. And I think a lot of the good ones already got done, to be honest.
So what's the total size you guys think of activity we're going to see second half of the year? If you're including M&A, private transactions, and public, like IPOs.
I'll say 40 billion to bring us to 100 billion for the year.
You think it's like $100 billion year in terms of total
it's
activity?
Gonna be a huge year, but the bigger stuff got done earlier in the gate would be my gut. It's still going to be a big second half, but it's going to slow down a tiny bit.
Interesting. Jeff, I'm curious to get your thoughts where you think this plays out.
I liked William's answer. I think that was, we're obviously kind of guessing here, but there were some chunky deals in the beginning of the year, so I think I would agree with that. It will slow unless you get a big, caveat would be, like Amazon or Netflix, to bring in a story, just hired a new gaming executive, and we've been talking about Netflix getting deeper into games. Do they go out and buy Activision or EA or something like that? Obviously, that then takes the number significantly higher. So
I'm handing you the juice. Why aren't you drinking it? Like
you just got juiced.
Great point.
We're gonna need a graphic, a special effect. Don't worry, Jeff. We're gonna hook you up here. All right, guys.
I do want to say I'm excited that Cherry was doing so well. As a huge hardware fan, I'm excited that the mechanical keyboard space is doing well. I'm excited they're doing well, especially in light of all the new Switch competitors that have come out, like Razer, Logitech. They're all making their own Switches, but Cherry prevails because quality. It is overall quality and consistency, and they've delivered that product. So I think it's huge for the space.
Did they get bought?
I don't think they got bought, but I saw it on the publicly traded one all the way at the bottom that they were doing pretty well from the looks of that graph.
Oh yeah, you're right. They did go public. Yeah, I actually didn't even know that.
Me neither.
Cherry went public and they raised $430 million, and their IPO valuation was $828 million. This is a company that makes Switches.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's exciting for me. Like, that's exciting.
That's a cool pickup. Interesting. Yeah, that one's an interesting one. But what's interesting is their enterprise value, the multiple of, they're trading at 6 times revenue, which is not insane, right? In the gaming conversation.
Don't need Switches in VR, Paul.
But it's also assuming quite a bit of growth, right? Like in Switches. They're expecting
they're
people
just
to
the
sell
manufacturer.
Yeah,
what do
and
they
so
make? Like
they manufacture like the switch of the keyboard, like the actual actuating point of the keyboard, and then partner with like companies
not Nintendo Switches.
Right. Just
this
like
Switch, this red thing here.
Yeah,
I
thought you meant they literally make Nintendo Switch, like they manufacture the Switch, and I was like, interesting.
Yeah,
like they were like an external manufacturer for Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
Keyboard switches. That means they're planning on selling. The markets believe we're going to sell a lot of gaming keyboards.
Oh yeah.